So it's been 5 years since we moved to California, and it's time for us to pack up our bags and leave. There's a lot going on with California, a lot of reasons to move out, but the reason why we are moving is probably not what you think. I'll get into that in a little bit. In this video, I hope to provide an honest look at why somebody would want to live out here, especially if you're coming from another state or even from another country. I have really good friends that are from New Zealand, Australia, all over the world. People have moved to California. There's a lot of reasons why, but there's also a lot of reasons that California is not the best. So in the summer of 2019, I decided to move my family to San Diego, California. It's a beautiful place, beaches, amazing trees, golf courses. A lot of people think of it as this lush area. So why did I want to move to California or San Diego? It's always been a dream of mine, California dreaming, right? You know, the surf lifestyle, the warm weather, wearing flip-flops, shorts every day, being able to go snowboarding up in the mountains just a few hours away, beach, going surfing right there. It seemed like the perfect lifestyle. I was born and raised in Colorado, so for 40 years of my life, I spent, snowboarding in the wintertime, playing baseball and sports in the summertime and spring. But it wasn't until later in life where I started to get sick of the cold winters. I had broken numerous bones over the years doing different things. So every time winter started coming around, I started to feel this, my bones would start aching. And everyone would always give me a hard time for it, even my wife, until, even she got some injuries that now she noticed when she was, getting close to winter, her body would start aching. So moving to a warmer climate was always something that I wanted to do, and, talked her into it, and we finally moved out here and really enjoyed the last 5 years of living in California. There's a lot of things to love about California, but there's also a lot of things that just aren't great. As most people know, there's a mass exodus happening out of California for various reasons. Everyone moves for different reasons, but some of these reasons are valid. The cost of housing is incredibly high. Cost of housing for not only buying a home, but renting keeps going up and up and up. The home that we moved into, the neighborhood, we rented it when we first moved out to California. We rented this home, and it was about a $1.2 million home that quickly in the last 3 to 4 years actually doubled in value. It just seems unsustainable. Cost of gasoline has been pretty crazy since we moved out to California. I remember when we first moved out, it was around $5, and then COVID hit, and I think we got up to about almost $7. I remember filling up my truck. It's about a 25 gallon tank, and it was almost $180 to fill up my truck. Trust me, you get sticker shock filling up your car. Try spending a couple $100s on filling up your tank. So cost of gasoline, cost of food, eating out's one thing. Food's great here in California, especially in San Diego, but the cost of just food at the store, obviously the whole nation's experiencing this inflation, but California, the cost of eggs, milk, everything is just way higher. Income taxes, obviously, depending on what you're earning, income taxes are the highest in the nation. So if you're earning at the $1 million mark, you're basically going to be taking 50% of your income and paying it towards the IRS and the state of California. There's crime everywhere, but definitely seems crazier out here in California and LA specifically. But you've got people running in and grabbing all this stuff from the retail stores, even Apple stores, where they're just pulling phones off of the cords and walking out in pure daylight, and nobody does anything just because it's not being enforced. And then you've got water shortages, you've got the government and the politics here, which, no matter what side you lean on, it just seems like the political environment and the way the government is run is horrible. And when you look at the business environment, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who started multiple businesses in Colorado, and coming out here and starting a business, it's really crazy. The regulatory environment's nuts. They're dead last in the nation for ease of doing business. I mean, just even starting an LLC, which in most states costs less than $100 to create the entity. In California, every year there's a minimum of $800, whether you make $1 from your business or not. And then you've got illegal immigration, which living close to the border down here in San Diego is really apparent. In fact, just the other day, there was a video of this speedboat that was just shooting towards the beach, runs up on the beach, almost hits some of these surfers in the water, could have killed them, and basically unloads about 15 immigrants, I'm imagining. I don't know for sure who they are, but imagining that's what they are. They run into the city, they get into these cars, and they get sped off. It's pretty scary. I know a lot of these people are just trying to get a better life from what they've currently got. There's obviously definitely going to be some people that don't have the best interests in mind and are coming to do potentially harm, to the United States and to the citizens who live here. But the other big part of this is we as taxpayers, we as people that are living here, paying for them, to go get health care, to, the crime, the additional things that are coming up from this. It's really something that has to be looked at. So why would you stay in California or come out here to begin with? I think it's pretty obvious. It's the weather. I call it the weather tax. It's definitely something that a lot of people always comment on. It's the perfect weather. And really down here in San Diego, the Mediterranean style temperatures and climate, it's really bizarre. Coming from Colorado, it was not uncommon for every afternoon, especially in the summertime, to have thunderstorms and wind, hail, a lot of potential tornadoes. The old house we used to live at, there was a tornado just down the road at the mall. So very used to a lot of different diverse weather and extreme weather. When we moved here, there was no wind. Like in Hawaii, when you go to Hawaii, like Maui, there's the trade winds, and it's just a constant breeze of 20 to 30 mile an hour breeze at some days. But here it's like nothing. There's nothing. If it's over 15 miles an hour, it feels like a gale force wind. California has some amazing national parks, the Redwood National Forest, which was something we were able to go up and experience. Incredible to be able to drive a car through a tree. You see these gigantic trees and just being in awe. It's an amazing sight. The whole state really is a diverse area of desert, ocean, trees, lush, dry climate. So a lot to experience throughout the state. If you're into golf like I am, California is an amazing place to play golf. Very little wind, like I mentioned. The temperatures are very well within comfort range. It doesn't get too cold, doesn't get too hot. Living in Colorado, especially in the wintertime, you want to get out there and play golf. So there's some nice days. You go out and you can't even get the tee in the ground because the ground is frozen solid. You don't have that problem here in Southern California. Some of the courses I love to play, Torrey Pines, amazing place. I actually was able to go be on the grounds during when the lockdown was happening in 2020. I think it was 2021. They still had a lockdown during the Farmers Insurance Open. I was able to get on the grounds because of a friend of ours, and we were part of the required, or what they call it, necessary workers at the time. But we were going around. We were supposed to be spotting balls, but we were just walking around watching the players. It was one of the most surreal moments because we're there with Phil Mickelson, Adam Scott, Rory McIlroy, all the big names except for Tiger, but all the big names were there that year, and there was no crowd. And they weren't even allowed to have their coaches there. So it was a really surreal moment. I've got this footage here of Adam Scott flopping it over the bunker, holding it out, and there's nobody around. This is actually during tournament play. My wife loves Adam Scott, like many women do. So I was able to follow him around for a little bit. Got to see Phil Mickelson chipping onto the par 5. Got to see Rory McIlroy, Brooks Koepka. It was an amazing experience to be behind the ropes, and especially on a sunny, beautiful day like it was. And California is a very healthy environment, a lot of healthy people. You're able to get outside, do fun things, just even going for walks. I try to go for a walk every day, listen to podcasts, and I don't have to worry about slipping on ice and snow in the wintertime, just trying to go for a walk. So that's definitely something I will miss. So where am I going and why? Obviously, I listed out a lot of the reasons why to stay in California, a lot of reasons why people should leave. But the main reason why we're leaving is family. Family is really important to me. And unfortunately, when we moved out here, we did not know the pandemic was going to occur, which threw a wrench into a lot of our plans as far as being able to have family come out, for us to go visit them. And so it definitely impacted our ability to be closer to family over the last 5 years. And then I look at the next 10 years of my daughter's lives, our lives, my parents, the grandparents. It's a critical time for my daughters to be able to be closer to them. And obviously for me to be closer to my family and my parents, and for my wife to be closer to her family as well, in Oklahoma. So it's just a short little flight versus having to take multiple hops, just to get over to Oklahoma. So family, family and friends are a big part of it. We didn't have any family or friends when we moved out to California, which definitely was a tough to go through, especially during COVID when we couldn't go visit them. It was a difficult time, and so family is by far the number one reason why we're moving back. Would I ever move back to California? Possibly, but I think it would take a lot to move back fully. There might be a scenario where we spend a lot more time here. Maybe we have a home that we can come to and visit more often. But there are a lot of things, definitely like taxes and cost of living, unless California can figure out some things that would make it a better place to live financially, as well as just overall quality of life. Definitely a lot of things to be fixed. So we'll see over the time, that maybe the next 10 years, we'll see if they can fix some of these things. Whether you're looking to move into California or maybe move out, hopefully this video was somewhat helpful in doing that. I'd love it if you hit subscribe and like down below. Let me know, in the comments if this is something that resonated with you and whether or not you're deciding to make that final move out of California, or maybe, why you're coming to California in the first place. I'd love to know down below. And if you're looking at renting versus buying a home, now more than ever, it's a really critical decision to make. I recorded this video here, which is definitely a video I'd recommend watching next.